Hello everyone, and welcome to another video where I will be talking about my new and upcoming Avalon Harmonics synthesizer modules. Today I'll be talking about my new VU module, and you can already see two of them right here. So I think it's already quite obvious what VU does. It's basically a VU meter, but it's a little bit more than just a simple VU meter. So let's get into some of its features and see what we can do with it. Starting off, here is the front plate, as you can see. Quite simple. On the very bottom you have an audio input, and on the very top you have an audio output. But what makes this module special is the fact that it can also do some envelope following, in addition to just normally showing the level of the audio. So you can also see that it has 10 LEDs, it has 5 yellow LEDs, 3 orange LEDs, and 2 red LEDs. The way how I have it set up right here, as you can see, I have 2 of them, and they are plugged in such a way so that they are basically right next to my output and my mixer. I'm doing this so that I can directly plug them into my stereo chain. So let's plug it in and see how this looks. I will first plug in the mixer output, and then I will plug in the main audio output. There we go. And let's, I guess, put some music into it. In this case, I'll just plug in my Korg Volcas that I have. I have a Korg Volca drum and Korg Volca kick, which I will be using. So let's see how this looks like. There you go. As you can see, it's showing a nice little VU meter output of the signal. We can add some more drums to it. Makes it peak a little bit more. Just like that. But it also has this output here. So this output basically creates an envelope follower output, which we can use to drive some other module. This can be very useful because you can, for instance, create sidechains. But first, what I will show is how you can change its behavior. As you can see, it has a knob on the front. This knob changes how quickly the fall-off happens. So if we play some audio like this, I will actually turn off the kick sound. Like that. Let's try and see what happens. As you can see, it's much more flashy if I do this. I have 2 of them in my rack, so they're obviously completely separate. You can use one if you use only mono sources, you can use 2 for stereo because they're stackable. As you can see, it goes very flashy and flickery and small fall-off because it's basically real time. We can make it very long fall-off like this. Then it gives a nice little average view of the signal. Let's say that the sweet spot is in the middle, like this. This gives us a pretty good idea of the level of the signal. Okay, what we will do now is I will change the patch around a little bit, and I will make it so that we are making use of these envelope followers. So I will be right back. Okay, we have done some changes to the patch now. I have rewired a lot of stuff around. What we are doing right now is on this VU module, like the right one, we are getting sound from the Margaret Laniakia module, which is just generating like a continuous drone like this. Pretty nice sound. And on the other one, I am getting a raw kick in, which sounds like this. So, as you can see, I have a now cable coming here out of the so-called peak port, which is actually an envelope follower. And I'm using this, after inverting it with any inverter module of your choice, into this stereo VCA here from ST Modular. And let's listen how this sounds like. Pretty cool, right? We got a little sidechain effect going there. We lower the volume of the kicks, it should reflect itself. Yeah. As you can see there, you can directly hear how the peak on the LEDs actually reflects on the signal. Let's try playing around with the hold knob a bit. As you can hear now, it's very short. It gets longer and longer. If we go too much, it will just drown it out because it's constantly high. And also play a bit here with how much it affects the sound. And that is basically how you can use this module as a peak detector of some sort to perform sidechaining. Let's see what else we can do with this module. Okay, let's try something quite a bit different. I've recently discovered that I can connect an electric guitar to my synthesizer. So what if we could use an electric guitar in combination to this to detect when the string was pressed? So right now we have this relatively simple guitar sound. But what I'm doing right now is routing it through a filter module, specifically EFI from ST Modular, as you can hear. I'm controlling it by hand, but what I'm doing is this cable here, peak from the VU module, is going into the CV input of the filter, which means that if I increase it a bit, like this, and lower the cutoff, as you can hear, it now can actually, the guitar itself controls the cutoff. Lower the cutoff even more. Furthermore, what else you could do with this is route it through some module that can create a gate out of this signal, and then you could trigger a whole note out of this. You could basically create a guitar into a quasi trigger source. Pretty cool. Okay, so to finish off this video, I would like to show the module outside of the case and talk a bit about its more advanced features. This is how it looks like. You have a few more ways how you can configure this module for your own use. First of all, there is a trimmer here on the bottom marked as T gain. This trimmer is specifically used to adjust the gain of the module because your rack might behave differently than someone else's rack, and you want to actually adjust the gain in such a way so that the peak is where your actual output peak is. This would be very useful to adjust so you can actually properly monitor your levels. Additionally, I would right now like to add that this module can actually accept DC signal sources as well, so you can use it with CV. In case you're using it with CV, you might want to obviously lower the gain quite a bit so that you can use it with very, very loud signals if you have some sort of LFO going into it or something like that. So you can actually use it for more than just audio signals. Second of all, you have here a T-LED trimmer. Using this trimmer, you can adjust the brightness of the last LED, the 10th LED, or the peak, basically. How you can adjust it with this is to make it much brighter than the other LEDs. You might actually want this, specifically if you want to be, let's say, loudly alerted of the peak being reached, so you can make it flash very bright red. There is also a jumper here, which you can remove, but basically this jumper, while it is on, the VU meter will behave exactly like you already saw, so it will have all the LEDs filled up. In case you remove it, it will go into a so-called dot mode, where you have only the bottom LED lit up and the current active LED lit up. This can save a little bit of power, but this module is already quite low on power use. Lastly, you have this chip here. This is the chip that actually controls the LEDs. There's 3 different chips available, but it seems that currently only one of the chips is actually being made. This is not really a problem, but basically if you could find the other chips on the market, then you could replace it. This is a standard chip used for these VU meters, and it is called LM3914. There's also 1.5 and 1.6 versions. All of my modules use the 14 version because that's the only one I could really find. I actually tried buying the 15 versions online, but they were all fake. They were actually the 14 version. If you can buy them, great, you can then swap them out. But I will only be supplying the 14 versions once you're buying this module. The difference is that the 14 chip has linear response curve, 15 has decibel, or rather logarithmic response curve, and 16 has a so-called VU meter response curve where each LED corresponds to a different specific decibel level. But yeah, that's about it. For the end of this video, what I would like to do is play one of my tracks. I will play it fully just so you can kind of see how the VU meter behaves with music. I will also play around a bit with the peak knobs so you can see how it behaves with that. And yeah, enjoy.